Howdy all, mystery box time. Bear with me, got a pretty decent cold going here, pumped up on Neocitrin and NyQuil, so I'm probably going to be even more incoherent than normal. At any rate, a question that comes up fairly often on my site is what to look for in a decent multimeter for the hobby or for do-it-yourself kind of around this house stuff. You know, there's no one perfect meter for everyone, okay? You know, it depends on budgets, features you're looking for, that type of thing. I've had a Fluke 79 for about 25 years. I love this meter, and if anyone's not familiar with the name Fluke, these are pretty much the meters by which all others are judged, okay? They're known for their robustness, their build quality, just built like bricks, and they last forever. Obviously, not everyone has, you know, it doesn't make sense to buy a Fluke meter for just around the house kind of use or the hobby. You know, this is generally too much meter for most people. So, yeah, most people in the hobby are not going to be buying a Fluke meter unless you're doing a whole lot of other stuff. However, let's see what's in here. This might be a treat for a few people. If you're looking for a Fluke but you don't want to spend too much, assuming it's even in here, I have no idea. Aha! Okay. This is the Fluke 17B Plus. This is a model. There's also a 15B Plus and an 18B Plus. These are all Flukes that are only available for the Chinese market. They are on Fluke's website, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, if you go to fluke.com and you look at all their multimeters, they will list the 17B Plus, but you can't get them here in North America or most places else worldwide. Again, Chinese market only. In fact, on the box, this was actually blacked out with a felt marker on mine. I knew about this, but I just took some brake clean to clean off the felt. Not for sale outside of China. Warranty void if sold outside of China. So no warranty on these if you buy one of them. So cross it off your list if you want a warranty. But if you're interested in a Fluke meter for a not bad price, do consider these. These are going anywhere from about $110 to $130 online. You can get them online from Amazon or eBay or the you know, the other Chinese direct type online sources. For that kind of money, you can get you can definitely, I'll tell you right now, you'll be able to get a meter with more functions on it. But it won't be a Fluke, and does that matter to you? Well, maybe not. I kind of wanted a Fluke. Mainly I wanted to see what these were all about, to see if they were worth $120 or whatever, or if they're really built down to a price point. And I wanted a second meter for my 79 because a lot of times you need two meters if you're doing any type of basic electronics work. You might want to measure voltage and current at the same time, or you might want to measure two voltages at different stages in the circuitry, whatever. The other nice thing to have a decent second multimeter is so you can reference your 2 meters. So let's pull this bad boy out, see what it's about. You know, the reason I wanted the 17B though, the 17B Plus, the main feature I wanted that the others didn't have is temperature. So we'll get to that here. The manual, it's all in Chinese, so it won't do you any good. I'll actually link to that on Fluke's website. You can actually download the manual in English or several other languages as well. So you're not stuck with the manual. It's this, some kind of product register, product card, probably calibration stamp, who knows. Date code on here, January 16th, 2018. So hopefully this will represent a fairly recent model. Which we'll look at the probes. So these are Fluke TL75 test leads. They are not silicone. Okay, they're a PVC jacketed lead. They are a high flex wire though. My Fluke 79 actually has the PVC leads as well. And again, this is 25 years old. They've never caused any problems. So Fluke does make good leads, even if even their non-silicone ones. You can tell they're not silicone. I don't know if you can see this on. I got the old soldering iron a little close to it one day, and it, it'll melt the wire. It's one way to tell that it's not a silicone test lead, but you can just feel it. These leads if you have to buy these separately, are 25, 30 bucks. So it's not like these are junk leads. These are decent quality leads. Certainly not the best out there, but for the average, do-it-yourself homer or RC or electronics hobbyist, probably going to be sufficient. Here's the temperature probe. It's I'll just unwrap this real quick. This is just your standard Fluke Type K. I don't know if that's showing up. Thermocouple. The little temperature probe ball end is right on the end. And for RC usage, this could be handy for checking battery temperatures or stuff. An IR gun's probably a little bit quicker, but I do a lot of my own automotive work, and having a meter with a temperature sensor I really missed. And also for, if you do your own HVAC work, having a temperature probe would be good. Check out the evaporator coil or condenser coil, temperatures, duct temperatures, that type of thing. The meter itself. So, the other reason you pay more for Fluke is the quality. And yeah, they're built like bricks. This thing is solid. It is not, yeah. You can tell it's a decent meter. No batteries. Even the dial selection, you can feel the quality over some. Here's a real cheap thing I bought. 15 or 10 years ago or whatever. Only worked for about a year, but it's crap, and you can feel that. So, good meter so far from the looks of it. The other big thing with Fluke is you're paying for the safety. We'll open this up and I'll show you that a little bit more. But as far as safety ratings go, it's rated at Cat 2 at 1000 volts, and Cat 3 at 600 volts. If you don't know what that means, you can use your Google figure that out. And these are going to be true. This isn't going to be some scammed rating like you see a lot of meters from China. One of the things that you want to look for in a meter is auto ranging, meaning you don't have to select, when you're in a voltage scale, you not have to select several different options every time you change voltage. It'll automatically do it for you, because it's a real pain in the ass. Every time you're, if you're checking voltages, say in the 1 to 2 volt range, and then you're checking something over 10 volts, and you have to go and switch the dial and remember to do that. It's nice having an auto range for that. This is a 4,000 count meter. I won't really get into that much. It's just basically think of that as the count, the number of counts. So once all the digits, there's 4 of them on here, that doesn't have anything to do with it. Once they reach 4,000, it'll drop a decimal place. So you lose 1 point of resolution after you hit 4,000. What I liked about this too was the big display. Compared to that. So big numbers, nice to see from a distance. So there's no batteries, so let's put the batteries in this thing. This cover does come off like all Flukes. This one's on there pretty good though. The bail is, a high quality Fluke. The bail is going to be built right into the backing, and you can twist this one around. This is actually meant to bend so you can hang it and stuff. Probably the new Flukes aren't the same, but this is plastic. It's okay, but in a hard industrial environment, this would get broken. I'm sure of it. So yeah, again, built to a price point. It's kind of nice though that you can change the batteries out just without having to open it up. This one I have to open up to change the battery, and it's a 9-volt. This one takes 2 AA's. So cheaper battery, easier to access in most cases. Okay. Oh yeah, that's really, Jesus, better than I thought. So nice clear display. So as far as functions on here, I'll just go over them real quick. You can look at the specs online. Again, I would recommend downloading the manual to read it. I did that before I purchased this just to make sure I even wanted it. So you've got voltage AC, voltage DC, you've got millivolts, both AC and DC. Anytime you see the yellow, you'd select that function with the yellow button. It means that the selection's got more than one function. So you'd select the second function with the yellow button, and it'll say millivolts AC or millivolts DC. Here's your resistance, ohms. So it automatically goes into ohms. Hit it again. You've got diode check, diode check, and that's continuity check right there. Actually, let's see what that's all about. Because that's one thing I look for, is a really quick latching continuity checker. So that's not bad. Not quite, doesn't latch quite as fast as my 79, and all that is when you're, when you're checking for shorts or opens and stuff. You don't have to hold the probes onto the, onto the pins or whatever you're probing for a long time until you get a continuity to register. So it's nice having a fast latching continuity checker. Capacitance, I don't use it much, and capacitance generally on these meters is the least of your accurate readings. I think the spec on this is plus minus 5%. I don't know how many digit counts plus or minus that is, but yeah, it's pretty high. Standard though for capacitance. It's good to check though to see if a capacitor is even working. And capacitors are one of the most common things to fail in circuits. So if you're doing any type of electronics work, capacitance is nice. And then of course your 3 current levels. You've got amps, milliamps, and microamps. Again, you select AC or DC with the function, and then temperature, which was the one I was certainly most keen on. And there we go, I'm just touching the end of it. As you can see, these thermocouples react pretty quick. So as far as the other functions on this display, you've got the backlight. I don't know how well, oh yeah, you can see it, not too bad. I don't know how well the camera's picking that up. I don't have that on my 79, another reason I wanted this. The backlight auto offs after 2 minutes. You can defeat that by holding the button in, the backlight button in while you turn it on. You saw that LOFF, so that means the auto backlight off has been disabled. Apparently if you hold the hold button in while you turn it on, it'll do a test of all the different LCD display digits. It'll light them all up. So that's how you can test that out. And the other thing is it auto powers off after 20 minutes according to the instructions. If you hold the second function button in while you turn it on, the auto power off is disabled. The other big thing I wanted with this meter was min-max. Another reason I liked it. Min-max is a really useful measurement or feature to have. Let's just go to temperature right now. We can demo this real quick. So if we hit min-max, all it's doing is it's checking the input, and it'll check it for temperature, current, or any of your voltages, and it will constantly monitor them, and anytime a new lowest value and a new highest value is reached, it will store those, and then you're able to recall it. So our minimum temperature that this probe was registering, and that just while I was talking, was 14.7. I was holding it for a bit and it went up to 19.5. So that can be really useful. Just for RC, I'm just thinking one thing, you could check your current draw of your servos. While you're stirring your servos, you know, you could be monitoring the current input into either your flybarless unit or your receiver. You know, stir the servo sticks to get maximum draw out of the servos, and then you can recall what the peak current was. Like lots of uses for min-max. Frequency, let's just see how this works. Yeah, the average home guy isn't probably going to need frequency. For RC use, probably not needed. But I use my frequency quite often. Let's go back to voltage. Show you a couple of other things here. So I use frequency myself for setting our generator, for fine-tuning the generator speed so it's putting out 60 hertz for a backup, our little backup generator. And you know, getting the hertz, getting the frequency, you know, pretty much bang on 60 is pretty important for a backup generator. So I use that function quite a bit. Yeah, so we've got the probes plugged into the mains here. We're on AC, it's showing 122.9, and if we hit frequency, 60 hertz, which is exactly what we'd expect to see here in Canada or North America. It also has duty cycle, which on a sine wave should be about 50%, which it's showing roughly 49.9. And oh, I should also mention this little red light is up. There's a lightning bolt here. There's a little lightning bolt on that red light. It came on when I plugged it into the mains. And this, I think, is kind of a gimmick. Basically, that little red light will come on anytime, according to the instructions, anytime the meter is reading over 30 volts AC, and I think it's 60 volts DC, just to tell you that there's a shock potential hazard there. Yeah, to me a gimmick, but I guess it kind of keeps you cognate or aware that you could light yourself up if you do something wrong. Might be a worthwhile little feature to have. The other one is relative, the relative button, which basically what it does is it'll zero out the value, so then, you know, any potential voltage change or current change, you know, it'll read down from that. So we zeroed it out there, and now it's, when I disconnected the probe, it's reading minus 122.8 AC. Range, you can just change range from manual to auto. And hold, I read about this after I bought this, and you know, I don't know if this might have changed my decision. Hold is a great feature. Here I'm going to go to DC. What it allows you to do is you don't even have to be looking at the meter at the display. You can be focusing on the probes and what you're testing, and the meter should beep when you take a test. You don't have to, and then it will store that value so you can come back and look at what you read. On a normal, if you had a meter with normal hold, what would happen when you do that? Again, you don't even have to look at the meter. Probe your source, you hear it beep, come back, and the value is held on the screen. So that's what hold is supposed to be for. Now on this meter, all hold does is it's essentially a freeze frame, which is kind of a, yeah. So here, let's take hold off. So the way you're supposed to work this is you probe the device, get your reading, and you hit hold, and then it will freeze the value so you can look at it. But the whole idea of hold is so you don't have to even look at the meter, so you can, you know, be probing, and the meter is storing that for you. So that's a disappointment, probably the biggest one so far that I'm aware of. Otherwise, decent. So we'll have a peek inside of this just to show you the inside quality and some of the safety features, and then we'll just wrap it up. Okay, so now we've got our 6 screws out. We'll open this rascal up. I should mention, if you really want to understand more about the componentry in here, the quality of the components, that type of thing, how it actually all functions, check out Dave Jones's EEV blog YouTube channel. That's actually where I first learned of these Chinese marketed Fluke meters, and he does a really thorough review on the 17B. The B Plus is just a little bit newer of a model, has a couple more little features, but really informative. Anyways, I mentioned that you know, you pay a bit more for a Fluke because of the safety, and I just wanted to quickly point out what some of those features are. First thing, you'll notice these rather big fuses. These are an HRC fuse, high rupturing capacity fuse. They're built like any other fuse. Basically, they're you know, there's a wire element in the middle that will blow if the current is too high. But unlike some little 50-cent glass fuse, these ones, that element is surrounded with a silica or a sand, something to absorb all the energy if you really pump a bunch in, and the fuse will not explode. You know, if you do enough, if you look on the internet, you'll find videos of meters exploding when too much energy is pumped into them. That's what these will help prevent. And the other thing is, they help, you know, prevent you from blowing the guts out of your meter if you do hook something up wrong. So these are a Bussmann fuse. I've got spares for my other Fluke. Unfortunately, they're a different number. So if anyone's thinking of getting the 17B plus, if you want to order spare fuses as well, this is the 11 amp, or this one's rated at 11 amp. This one is rated at 440 milliamp. Again, you've got your 2 amperage inputs. They're both fused by their own separate fuse. So the 440 milliamp one is a DMM 44-100, and the 11 amp one is a DMM 11AR. So, you know, that's just one reason. These are quite expensive. If you do have to replace them, they're $10 to $15 each. You know, there's you'll notice a little shield here, you know, shielding the input resistor. So if that was to blow up, you know, you've got shielding there. You've got multiple levels of MOV protection for the circuitry. Actually, on my Fluke 79, I actually blew the input resistor once. I don't know how I did it, but again, when you have all these layers of protection, that helps protect the meter. You know, I didn't blow the whole meter up. I was just able to replace that resistor, and we're working again. You'll also notice right beside the resistor, there's this isolation slot machined in there. This is quite a basic one. You know, some of the really expensive higher end meters, these isolation slots can be quite intricate. Their function is all the same though. This is your input, power input for normal voltage checking. So if you're checking a high enough voltage, and say you were in a really humid environment, you know, you could get a spark gapping across the board to other little componentry. So with that isolation slot there, and right on the back half of the meter case, I don't know if that's showing up, but there's a little raised portion here. That will actually, that little raised portion actually slides right in down into that slot. So you've got that, you know, basically a shield between the input pin and the rest of the electronics on the board. And it's just stuff like that. Just give you my last thoughts on the 17B plus. Before doing that, I'm just going to show the 4000 count, what that means, seeing that these are both rated for it. I've got these hooked up to a variable DC power supply. They're in DC range. You'll see they're both reading 1.271 volts. So it looks like, you know, this one is fairly accurate. They're both reading roughly the same. You can see they respond pretty much the same. This is a little bit slower, but not bad. updates according to the specs, three updates per second. One thing it doesn't have, I never mentioned, is the bar graph. You'll see this one's got a little bar graph. And these can be handy because they pick up changes fast or quickly, variable changes really quick. You know, varying voltage, varying current. You know, they'll register that a lot quicker than the display value will. I don't really put much value in it, so you know that's why I got this. If I really wanted a bar graph, I wouldn't have got the 17B plus. But anyways, what I wanted to show is the 4000 count. So all that means is when these values get to 4000, they'll drop a decimal place of resolution. Don't worry about, you know, it's 3.2, but just consider that 3281 right now. So we'll see. So we're almost at 4 there. So that one just dropped its decimal place. Geez, there she goes. So that's all the 4000 count means. It's when you lose a decimal place of resolution. If it was 6000 count, we'd get up to 6 point some volts before it would drop down to two decimal places. But as you can see, very consistent. So, you know, this is a pretty good multimeter for the price if you're specifically after a Fluke. No question, it's not the best DMM out there in terms of you know, functions per dollar, and doesn't have true RMS, doesn't have the bar graph, which I just showed, and it doesn't have a true hold button. But that said, in this price range, it's one of the safest meters I was able to find, and the overall quality is certainly up to Fluke's usual high standards. And the one thing I never even mentioned that I probably should have mentioned right off the bat, something I put even more value in, or just as much, if not more value, in as accuracy, is how consistent the readings are. You know, when you take a reading, do you trust what this display is showing? And there's nothing more aggravating than fault tracing a problem. You know, you're already heavy into diagnostic thought process, and then if you can't, you know, if you're second guessing your meter the whole time, you know, you can pull your hair out. Just a real pain in the ass trying to fault trace problems when you're fighting with the meter. I know with this Fluke 17B plus, I'm probably going to get that that consistency. Just doing this little test here and the little bit I've been playing around with it, with the temperature and whatnot, and the hertz values, I can already tell this is going to be a consistent meter. So I expect this little rascal to last for many years of usage, just like my trusty 79 has. But the lack of a true hold function is a real letdown. I won't lie about that. And you know, I'd probably still likely purchase it again, even knowing that this hold isn't real. It's just a freeze. And for many, not having that hold will be the deal breaker alone. So hopefully, if you're thinking of getting one of these 17B pluses, or you're a little curious about them, this video will help. There's lots of other great videos by others who, you know, I can't even come close to as far as doing of, you know, testing the accuracy and everything. They've got all the proper equipment for that. But hopefully my little video here is just one more tool in your research arsenal if you're thinking of getting one of these bad boys.